Welcome, fellow Survivor fans, to the Best Damn Survivor podcast. Put it here on YouTube every Sunday. I'm Dave. With me, as always, is Drew.
What's up, Survivor buffs, merge maniacs,
Merge Maniacs. That's right. I got to remember
rice
that
dumpers. I like rice dumpers.
Rice
Sorry,
Dumpers was
I'm
a good one.
saying I mean, hashtag Brandon, whatever.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, I didn't get it at the time, but now I get it. So, I mean, sugar eaters, props, Sandra, right?
Yep. Spy Shack builders.
Yes, pot stirs.
Pot stirs, yeah.
Wait. Challenge throwers.
Oh, there
right?
you go. That's a good one.
What else can we come up? Okay, we'll get back to you guys.
We'll put that in the back burner for now. Today we'll be discussing Truth Kamikaze. And here's a question I haven't asked in a while. Do you know who says it?
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I was so invested. Like, I heard Truth Bomb, but I don't know where the Kamikaze came from. Not gonna lie.
Xander says it when he votes. Xander says your Truth Bomb was more like a Truth Kamikaze. Yeah, Xander says it. Anyway, we'll get to the votes and final tribal.
Does that feel like a little bit of a hint? I don't know. Okay.
First impressions of the episode.
It's really good.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't seen every season, but this is hands down for me so far. And prove me if I'm wrong. Like, I could sit at the table and be like, have that sign be like, this is the best season of Survivor. Prove me wrong. And I would like to hear from people. Hopefully that doesn't blow up the inbox. But so far, man, it just seems like it's been so well done this season. Like, everything seems to fit. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not going to.
They really tried to. I feel like this season and the only other season, and I'm not trying to undermine the message of, that I think this season has or the theme, but there was a lot of
message. But
yeah, exactly. But other seasons have had a message. Sure. It's just built around brains, brawn, beauty, millennials versus Gen X, blood versus water. So they have tried to tackle, I wouldn't say social issues, but like relationship kind of different kind of things like that. And this is probably the season that I think captures what's going on in the world right now. Like, I think a lot of other seasons they try to do a theme like that and they maybe succeed. Like, everyone can have a hot take on whatever season they want. But I feel like the social issues this season is dealing with really is just holding up a mirror to everyone watching at home.
I mean, yes, 100%. But I think that's one of the things that I've always liked about the show is that they try and take people, from a section of society where you would think at face value, no, they're going to be at a disadvantage, or no, they're going to be at an advantage. Mm-hmm. And then when they put them into the game, it's clear that it's not that way. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things I've always liked about the game, that they intentionally try and set people from a perceived advantage point and then blur the lines and see, what the game actually turns out. You know what I mean?
That's a very good way of putting it. Perceived advantage point. I think that's a very good phrase. Yeah. I'm going to have to remember that one. We're writing that one down. I like that. So essentially this episode starts with, again, my favorite part when they come back from tribal. This one wasn't as heated as ones in the past. Danny and Deshawn just kind of go to the beach to try and regroup.
Well, I mean, I think we hear Danny first being like, yeah, okay, so we got to figure some stuff out.
Yeah, he was, I don't know if it was embarrassed, but I don't think he was expecting to get that emotional at the last tribal. They even showed like a flashback of it. And he was just like, yeah, don't keep me in the game because I made that emotional outburst and I'm black. Like, everyone play your game.
Well,
and
I mean, honestly, like, okay, here's the thing. This social issue is a very, very, very real thing. But part of me is like, are we getting hearts and flowers here? Like I haven't watched all of them, but I almost feel like as a Survivor fan, I have to be a little bit guarded. Like, are you going to tell me your grandma's dead and she's not really dead?
It's hard not to be a little cynical. I know.
And like,
That's the game, is doubt versus trust, right?
And not only that, again, I still haven't seen every season, but I've literally seen people sitting in that trial be like, it just I care so much about my kids, and they get teary, and I'm like, okay, really? And I think that's the thing that Johnny Fairplay recognized, right? Because he's got a wrestling background, is he understands the role of the hero, the villain, the heel, the baby face, right?
Yeah, I don't think heroes and villains was even a phrase people called Survivor players until that season. No one said they're a hero or a villain. He was like the first real villain, yeah.
Okay, but the heel and the baby face came before the hero and the villain.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Right. So I'm kind of like, and I mean, on one hand, I get it, but I just I keep thinking of Shan's face at Tribal, just that disapproved look and the shaking and looking down, just like, and I don't know what they're trying to tell me. You know what I mean?
Remind me after we finish going over Tribal. Yeah. I watched the Ponderosa episode, and it is very interesting. I'll have to send you a link, but it is very interesting.
Okay, I dropped the ball. Okay,
it's all good. So I mean, after I guess his apology tour, it goes to the next morning, and that's another thing they've done more this season. The sunrise scene, like the sunrise scenes. Like there's always a shot at them at like 6 a.m. when the sun comes up on the beach.
Right.
And it's, I think, Deshaun talking to Heather.
Yeah.
And Heather's just pretty much like going, I had no idea. That's the only thing I think Heather really says in this entire episode, is just she's a vehicle for that sort of. Is that too cynical for me to think of them being like?
I mean, honestly, I'm gonna say this. I really liked what Heather said at Tribal. Just her assessment of like, kind of where you are, what's happening now, where you want to go. I mean, honestly, like we talked about it before, and we've said before that Heather kind of seems like a goat in the season. And now after this episode, I feel like I got another look of Heather from the show and the editors. That's making me think, I don't know if she's as much of a wallflower. Like maybe she's been playing some long game. I had that thought this episode. I could be wrong.
That's fair.
It occurred to me.
What did you think of Xander's line about keeping Ricard in the game to Danny? And he's like, because everyone wants him out besides me, so I got to keep my shield.
He's absolutely Xander's meat shield. He's the heat score in front of him, right?
Yeah. I just thought like Xander's pretty smart. I don't know when he can play his idol next. I think it's
who.
I think Xander's next tribal council is his last chance to play his idol.
I got to be honest. I got a frog, man.
Oh, it's all good. Yeah, I can mute it. It's all good. Yeah, it's all good. I mean, I'll just sort of keep talking here, or I edit this out. But Deshaun talks to Erica about race. Oh, wait. I'll have to fill Drew in here. This is great content.
Yeah, I know.
It's all good.
I'm like, I kind of knew, and I was like, pulled.
Yeah, it's all good. I muted you, so some of the last of it wasn't that bad. What did you think about Deshaun and Erica's conversation? When Erica really kind of made it about she wants to see a woman win.
I mean, yes, I get it. I mean, I don't know. She's from the Philippines. She's Canadian. I definitely love like both peoples. I kind of like, I've worked with a lot of people from the Philippines, and they really seem like kind, driven people. Like I don't think I've ever met somebody from the Philippines that I didn't like. Like they're, I don't know.
It's
I
weird.
work
Like,
construction, and I worked with you know, a lot of guys that were Filipino, and they just I don't know. I never met somebody. You know, they just seemed like kind of like East Coasters from Canada, like, you know, a personality but salt of the earth, kind of like, you know.
sure,
And oh, yep, wow, yep.
it's all good. I
You're
feel
gonna have
like
to edit that out.
I'll try. Yeah.
I'll try.
Well, 5 seconds of
AKA,
dead air,
AKA, we're gonna
and
leave it in for comedy, but yeah. Um, I so, um, I think I get the vibe like Erica's kind of almost like a back channel player like Deshaun. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Where, you know, she's not almost like if you play Magic the Gathering, like a mid range deck, she's playing an Odric deck. Do you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
No, okay. Um, she's basically, she's not super good in the challenges. She's not super out there socially. She's kind of trying to play the middle ground and kind of watch everything that's going on. And we've heard, you know, players make comments the whole season
Hmm.
that you know, people view her as sneaky. People view her as right. So if you're sneaky, by definition, you're aware, right?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, yeah. You can't be sneaky and underhanded without self awareness. Yeah,
Right?
I can see how those go hand in hand.
Yeah,
Um, so the challenge comes next.
sure does. The
So
first of
what did
two.
you think? So Jeff offers them. He splits them into two teams of three. He offers them chicken and veggies, or cookies, cake, and candy. And
Only a fool would take
Deshaun,
the cookies and cake.
I know, right? I know, right? That other option. But then
Xander,
Deshaun is like, really? I kind of don't need either of them. I was hoping for loved one letters. Or not Xander, Deshaun. Deshaun says this. And Jeff's like, really, Deshaun? Like, we give you no rice and you complain, and then I
okay.
give you a chance at chicken and veggies, and you're like, I want a
So
piece of paper? Like, really?
so for real though, I like, you told me this earlier in the season, and I was like, man, I want to see the loved ones episode, and you're like, yeah, I don't think it's happening now, you know, aka because of COVID. So I think now we know that there's no, it's not.
I'm not
I
gonna lie. I'm holding out hope for like a video
no.
screen chat sort of thing in the finale, but
Okay, well,
I
if that
fingers
happens,
crossed, but I'm like 50-50 on if I think it's gonna happen. I'm
if
not
that
sure.
happens, then props to the Survivor producers and planning team, because right now I've lost all hope. I'm like, when Jeff says that, I'm like, yeah, no, you don't get any of that. This
Yeah.
is not, because like, you know, this is sort of supposed to have been or marketed as like the most savage season yet, right?
Mhm.
So like,
So one thing I'll say about this challenge, why did Heather get out of the water? Okay, so like for any okay, I'll let you know the teams. We
right.
got we got Deshaun, Xander, and Erica versus Ricard, Danny, and Heather. They have to like race, swim, they have to race up a rope net, they have to jump off, they have to collect buoys, they have to collect three of a certain color, and then it's just basketball in the water. So one person throws, and ideally the other two people on your team get in the water and pass you the buoys back so you can shoot faster. But halfway
I don't.
through, Heather is just exhausted and gets out of the water. And
That doesn't seem like a Survivor thing to me, where you could just like do a relay race where you could go and grab the buoy and throw it up to the person on. Like that doesn't seem
no,
like.
they had to dive underwater. The first person through the water had to release all the buoys, collect one, go to a platform. The second person had to do the same thing, collect another buoy, go up to the
Go to the
platform.
platform. Yeah.
And once the whole team was there, you could begin shooting at these three nets that were in the water like
Yeah.
basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, Heather, I guess, couldn't swim and gets out of the water. So kind of hands it to Deshaun, Xander, and Erica.
I
And they
mean,
choose Chicken
I
and
mean,
veggies.
let's talk about
Obviously.
this for a second.
Okay.
Is there a final three that Heather ends up in where the other two players are just hated enough that, right? You know what I'm saying?
I think
Tell
for
me.
Heather to win, Ricard and Xander have to not be in the final three with her.
Okay, so who is there? Erica and
Deshaun.
yeah.
That's my guess. That's the only thing I can think of.
All right.
If Ricard and Xander are in the final three, one of them is winning. I secretly want them both to be in the final three now and hear both their arguments. But with
Yeah, I
Shan
sure
on the
did too.
jury, I think Ricard's getting a lot of votes if he makes it there.
But give me your percentage. Who's gonna win? Xander over Ricard or Ricard over Xander?
Ricard over Xander right now is my. I think Ricard has got a more than 50% chance. I think Xander is like.
Well, he's got the better
resume,
right? And that's the thing. I mean, well, that was the theme this episode. Is like, why didn't we get rid of Ricard earlier? Right?
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
So they get back to camp, and Danny decides to go idol hunting. He bides his time and goes, I'm gonna take my shot. And they do that classic thing where the camera is looking at the survivor, looks down, zooms in a couple times on the advantage, and then looks back up at the survivor, and he doesn't get it. But this was smart because he heads back to camp, like whistling, like a little bit of a skip in his step.
Well, and so that's the thing that they did, that they left out in the editing. You didn't see the lead up to that. You just saw the other players' reactions where they're like,
"That's right, that's right." Ricard was like, "Huh."
He kind of seems like, right? So
because they tried to leave it ambiguous if he found it or not, because they wanted to tease you, thinking it would be a really good tribal council reveal, so they didn't really show you.
Well, but
they were trying to set up what I've talked about they've done in previous episodes where they do the flashback.
Fair.
Like the Nasir finding the idol.
But let's be real. Danny had to play a role for that to come out. It wasn't like, because honestly, like if you went going looking for an idol and you didn't find it, would you come back all stoked? You'd be like,
so if they had showed you how stoked he was, would you have been able to figure out the twist that he did or didn't find an idol there? Do you think they purposely left it out? Maybe he overacted.
I don't know.
Because they were just giving everyone's opinion, right? But I feel like if they showed his actions, me or you might be like, "Oh, I know he didn't find it, or I know he found it." Like,
I mean, maybe.
I think they were trying to keep the fan or the audience just in suspense for as long as they could.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, but I don't know. It'd be hard to. I don't know. I'm still kind of a noob when it comes to understanding this stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm still trying to figure out. Like, I don't know. We'll get there.
Yeah. I'm just curious. Like, I'm always curious why they put stuff in and leave stuff out, and vice versa. Like, I'm always like, what is the? Because the show has a director, right? Like, there's editor. Like, they are trying to tell a story with every episode. So, I'm just trying to kind of figure it out. Kind of. Sometimes really good stuff happens, and then I throw all that out the window and just enjoy a spicy tribal.
Yeah.
So we essentially go to we essentially go to the immunity challenge next. I like this challenge. I'm not gonna lie. If I was on Survivor, I'd be horrible at puzzles. Horrible.
Okay. Can we talk about the literally essentially the same version of putting your head on a pad and spinning around until you're dizzy AF?
Love that. My favorite part.
I love it and hate it because I'm
you see that at like company Christmas parties.
So here's the thing. I was watching with my girlfriend, and I don't know what the right answer is this, but could anybody have just like spun the life preserver instead of spinning their body and been more centered to go through the second phase?
That is an interesting challenge hack that I don't know if that would have worked. You'd really have to be Unless they legit say you have to spin.
I don't think it would be that hard, man. You could literally just run forward and let that wheel spin on your body and just take the rug burns across your abdomen and go if you really wanted to. Like, in the scheme of things, what are a couple cuts deserve to or as opposed to immunity?
There is a big history in Survivor of challenge hacks where players are just like, I'll just do this, right? Like there was a season where you had to dive underwater and release a bunch, like there was a huge metal tube and you had to push coconuts all the way to the end. So what Ozzy does, I think it's the season we watched,
right?
He skates down and spends way too long originally moving all the coconuts to the front. Okay. So that way his teammates just have an easier run at the course.
Right.
But he wastes a lot of time early to gain a lot of time later.
Right.
But that was a player figuring out a challenge. So I don't know if they told him you can't do that. Maybe this time, maybe no one thought of it. But that's a really good idea if the producers of the show didn't say you can't do this.
I mean, yeah.
That would have been a really good idea. I think Danny, Xander, or Ricard could have all like done it.
So is this the first time this particular challenge has come up?
Yes.
Ooh, okay.
History. Actually, no, second time. Island of the Idols. This was done a couple years ago, so this is the second time they brought it back.
Okay.
The reward challenge was brand new.
Okay.
It was very funny trying to watch them balance on those bars. Heather had a hell of a time. Danny had a hard time. I was really surprised about Danny. I was like, really,
bro? Hey, man. Starve you for a number of days. See how you do.
Yeah, fair enough.
What was it? Cowboys for 5 years and the Bears for a year?
That's right. Yeah.
The Bears.
So,
but also, just for reference, I was named after Drew Pierce of the Cowboys once upon a time by my father. So
that's a fun fact.
Just saying, I should probably say go Cowboys.
So, do you remember what the word puzzle at the very end? What you had to spell out?
Nope. Lost it.
Your next vote could be your last.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about the what do you call it? What do you call those?
It's a Rebus puzzle. I've got that coming, but that comes with tribal.
No. Your next vote. So I mean, okay. Where do you want to go with this? I got lots to say, but I don't
just Ricard wins,
and I'm gonna say deservedly so.
Yeah, he nailed that puzzle.
And I kind of I like the commentary by Jeff this challenge, where he was just like I don't know, like a buddy style coach, where he was encouraging everybody. Everybody's pushing. Everyone's like there's no like, oh man, you dropped the thing. How are you gonna make it in now? I don't know. It was like
he motivated Heather a bit.
But it was just like everybody, because really, like when you have that kind of challenge at the end, even if you didn't walk the beam that well the first one or two times, you may rock on the puzzle. Oh man, we come out of this challenge with everybody being like, we come out of it with Erica just being like, oh man, you guys, like our plan A was like Ricard, and now we need a plan B.
That's so funny. Do you want to know what I wrote in my notes here for this exact moment?
Yeah.
I said Ricard wins. Everyone else says, "Oh crap!"
Yeah,
that was a one-word sentence I wrote for the challenge.
And I feel like there's been so much chatter in the rest of the episode where people are like, "Man," like as soon as he won immunity, there was a lot of commentary in the episode where it was like, "Man, now he has immunity. See, I told you, right?"
Yeah,
like there was a lot of that, and.
That's what happens. That's what happens immediately next. Is you got Danny Deshawn at camp talking about this, and like Danny's like they're idiots, and Deshawn's like I know they're idiots. Like last episode, Danny was the one that won immunity. That was that could have been the only chance to get Ricard out. He can make himself to Final Four. He's got every chance.
I mean that's the thing. At this point, man, I really felt like this was the episode that should have been called my $1 million mistake.
Oh, good one. Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Truth Kamikaze came so late, it was a little underwhelming.
Well, but just like that idea that, like, I mean, I hate the looks from Shan from the jury. She's so angry. It's like the early season Liana. Like, you know, Liana looked like stressed while she was in the game, but now she's like a little bit more chill. But like the looks we get from Shan, just like I don't know.
So here's what I think happens next, and here's how I watched this, 5-minute segment. Is Danny tells Deshawn he was a football player.
Yeah.
And then Deshawn has a talking head where he says, "Oh, Danny hasn't made personal relationships. I feel like he's my big brother, but he doesn't have as strong a relationship with Heather or Erica as I do." And so he's like, "I'm going to use that." And he immediately goes to Erica and says, he says he's trying to get Erica to say her and Heather can't go to Final 3 together. So this is another one of Deshawn's like plans. That's how I saw it.
So maybe I missed that. Was that something that he set up? Because, if you've watched the whole episode, like this is a bit of a callback, but like,
Erica and Deshawn are sitting at the well, and Deshawn is like saying, "Hey, you and Heather have played similar games. You both can't go to the Final 3. Or else," I think the phrase he said, I think I made notes, you'd step on each other's toes when you're trying to make your opening arguments kind of thing. Right. So he's like, if you take me and this person, I can't remember who the other person he said, he's like, we've all played different games. So when we all talk about our games at the end, trying to get votes, like he's trying to almost pitch like, the 3 different stories at Final Tribal, like Final 3, because we've all played different games, because he's putting multiple players like in the same box. It's interesting.
I mean, it makes sense, right? To be like, try to think of a reference, right? But it's kind of like,
there can only be so many certain different kind of magic decks at a tournament.
Yeah.
We can't have 6 red decks, people. We can't have 6 red decks.
You guys are all playing clerics. We only need 1 cleric for the party.
Yeah, so, exactly.
Right?
Oh, there we go. D&D reference. That's way better. Yeah. Just as nerdy, but way better. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's kind of seen, and I mean, man, I
just thought it was an interesting pitch.
I can see it. I can see the logic. Well, I mean, it's weird because this episode when Deshawn and Danny say, "Yeah, we're probably the bottom 2. I know we're going to get votes." I didn't get that gut feeling from their lead up, right? And then that happened in the show, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe I need to be, maybe I need to be worried about one of these guys. And so I think they don't always like. What was the reveal earlier this season? Like they don't always.
The Nasir finding the idol and saying the 3rd phrase. That's my favorite reveal of the season.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So sometimes they bide their time. So it's kind of like, I mean, I think I know, like, honestly, right now, I think it's going to be, I don't know. Like, what's your Final 3 right now?
That's a tough one. What I think would be the best TV, Xander, Ricard, Deshawn. I think that would be the most entertaining Final Tribal.
Xander, Ricard, Deshawn.
But I like Xander. I'm really starting to come around on Ricard. I kind of don't care either one, Xander or Ricard. If either one of them win, I don't think I've got a favorite.
So here's the big thing that I
just don't like Deshawn, really.
Well, okay. I don't know.
And I don't think Heather's going to win. There's no way Heather's winning. If Heather wins, I don't even know. Post comments down below. What do you want me to do if Heather wins, even though she's not going to? So I have no problem making that bet.
I'll tell you how Heather wins. She gets in final 3 with Deshawn and Erica.
You think she could beat Erica in that final 3?
Kidding me?
Isn't the jury going to be all POCs, people of color? You don't think they want to? But it would be a woman. It would be a woman winning. So
yeah, but I think. I
feel like
Canadian,
the end of the season
so
is
I think
a person
people
of
could
color
be like,
winning.
Yeah, you're from Canada. We're gonna walk all over you. I don't know. The one thing I will say though, I think at least from the editing, at least from what I've seen this season, all the little snippets seem to point to people dislike Deshawn, right? That whole comment from Shan, "You're a snake," right? And that wasn't the first of it, right? Agreed?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
People have said Erica is sneaky. It really comes down to, does game respect game? And I'm looking at the
fair point.
And I'm looking at the angry looks from the jury. Right? Like Tiff, Evie, Shan, like I can, multiple times I can see a lot of emotion and thoughts just going through their mind, like on their face when the camera pans to them. Mm-hmm. And I know that that's not everything that happens, but I don't know. Maybe Survivor's trying to blindside me right now, and that's possible. But
what did you think of Ricard going through Danny's bag?
Well, I think
after confronting him, being like, "Hey, dude, you seem pretty happy yesterday. Do you got an idol?"
I'm really gonna have to tip my hat off to Danny on this one and say, man, you sold it, bro. Especially with coming so close, like it was right there, and just knowing, I'm like, oh, I wanted it. I'm so behind Danny.
But here's something we've talked about in previous podcasts about the having an idol, keeping it in your bag. Like we talked about it earlier with JD, where he had it in his waistband, and because he lost 10 pounds or 5 pounds that like 4 days, he like the note was visible. Like Ricard searches through Danny's bag and he's still not sold. He's like, he probably hit it.
I like that moment where it's like, should I look? Like,
Erica looks so sketched out. She's not stoked about being right beside Ricard when he does it. She's like, what do I do? Do I sit here and act cool? Do I run away? Do I tell? That was hilarious.
Oh yeah,
made me laugh.
That was awesome. Honestly, I think Ricard has a very, very, very strong chance of winning this game.
Yeah.
Good player, man. He's got his heads up. He hasn't taken any dirty hits on the boards. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's aware. He knows what's up. He's playing a strong game. He's a great player. I could see him coming back for another season if he doesn't, right?
Here we go. Top 3 players from this season you want to bring back.
Oh,
I'm not gonna lie, I want to see JD again.
Yeah, okay. He didn't draw me in like Cochran.
I don't know if I want to see Shan again. Hot take, sorry.
I do. I want to.
Tiff would be good. I like Tiff.
Okay, I'm with you on Tiff. I would vote Shan, and I don't know who my third is. But
Tiff, JD, and Nasir. Those are my 3 picks because they were early eliminations, and man, I love Nasir.
So I would go with Tiff, Shan, Nasir, or not in that order.
Fair enough. I did.
Yeah, I would.
Okay, so then we go to tribal, and as they're walking in, this is the Rebus puzzle. This picture doesn't have the answer.
Okay, hold on. No, I can't see it.
Island minus the and. Goat, Alley,
Dove,
And notes
musical
minus
notes
the N.
minus N.
Yeah, notes minus N, because there's two of them.
Something about votes.
I'll go tell you the votes. A very common Jeffism, because he's actually said this in interviews. He's like, technically what I'm saying is grammatically incorrect. I'm not tallying the votes. I'm just counting the votes. So it's
really?
Yeah. There's a couple things Jeff just says that he just
you're not
can't
able
not say anymore.
to pluralize tally. It's just singular.
No, it's a different word. Tally mean, oh geez, I don't have this fact off the top of my head, but he has said in interviews, he's like, yeah, what I'm saying is wrong.
All right.
So what did you think of Tribal? Because Jeff immediately notices a smile on Deshaun's face.
So okay. So here's the thing. First time I watched the episode, I was like, you said, right? I just kind of do it as a fan. I'm like, man, I'm so engaged in this season. It's so good. Like all the layers, all the editing, all the moments that's happened. I haven't seen every episode of the show, but it's hands down for me, my favorite episode. Or my favorite season so far, and hands down my favorite episode so far. When I watched it the second time, I could see the layers that they were creating before they got to Tribal. And then it almost felt like when we got to Tribal that they just unpacked those same layers. Like it was like two twin onions. And as we're going through the episode, they're like taking those layers apart. And then we get to Tribal and we just do it like a little bit faster. Now, Deshaun.
When Jeff goes, why do you have a big smile on your face? He's just sort of like, I'm just happy to be here. I know it's either me or Danny.
And
you can see Erica's eyes being like, I sure hope it's not you, Deshaun. She's like, man, Erica's eyes are so expressive.
But what about that? Like, that whole being like, hey man, you look a little bit glib. Like, I guess it's the editing, but it's kind of
Jeff
like
knows. Jeff knows what happened that day. They talk for like 45 minutes. I feel like every Tribal, Jeff talks to everybody. He asks questions to everybody. So he's got a good read on the game, right? He's immersed in it like us. He sees more than we do.
Okay.
I used to think the cameraman reported back to him and he took notes and knew exactly what to ask. But I just think he watches he's there with the survivors. I think he just sort of I think he freeballs it. That's what I think.
So is this just a thing where they focus on second from the bottom so hard because they're just trying to build suspense? Are we talking who's Negan gonna kill at the end of whatever that season is, where I stopped watching because of the
there are Survivor fans I know that have noticed editing tricks in the episode where if someone's gonna get voted out, they maybe sometimes get more screen time. Generally on elimination episodes, when your torch gets snuffed, you sometimes get an extra talking head or two. There's been patterns that have been noticed. It's not concrete.
I'm gonna say
this season I would say is different, but
I did not enjoy this torch snuff.
There's me too. There's some cynical Survivor fans out there that believe it's just a giant trick. So what do you think about Deshaun's strategy here? Because he decides essentially, I'm going to throw a Hail Mary and drop a truth bomb.
You know what?
Before the vote.
I hate it.
Okay, why is it a good idea and why is it a bad idea? I'm curious.
Well, if you really believe that you're on the bottom two, you have to try. You have to. Point. What are you going to do? Just lay down and die?
That's a good point.
You probably shouldn't. And if you do, nobody's going to respect you, right? That whole idea where we're talking earlier in the episode where Xander's if he doesn't make the immunity challenge,
Mhm.
We got to get him out because he has the best resume by far, right? So everyone's trying to size each other up. I think, I mean, it's not the first time in the game that we've heard somebody say, I don't know, but Erica, she seems pretty intelligent. She seems resourceful, right? Sneaky is the other word that has been used, but essentially intelligent and resourceful is right what players are worried about. And yeah, I think I think it's kind of a greasy play that rubs me the wrong way, but I'm kind of a bit of a snowflake that way. I think it was smart. I think he had to do something, and I mean,
So you know what the downside is, right? Jeff even points it out.
yeah.
He's like, you had no way of knowing if you were the target or not. So why blow up your game when you had a 50-50 shot of
and
keeping
not only
quiet?
and not only that, but watching it second time, there's a couple comments in Tribal where I'm like, that made me think before the vote, where I'm like, oh, Deshaun, you were not the target. Oh, you kind of messed up. Now, I mean,
I feel like he could have. He didn't trust Erica. He makes all these
as
plans with people, but he doesn't trust even the people he's working with. He is
well,
so
but
paranoid, dude.
okay, but I mean, I think one of my favorite lines of this whole season is when
Yeah.
Ricard goes to vote and he goes, okay, we promise each other that we give each other permission to do this when the time comes. I mean, let's be real. The time is coming every day or two in Survivor,
Ricard,
right? And this
yeah.
was something that Jeff prefaced the whole season with is there's going to be no time to work, no time to hide. Like it's going to be go time.
Yeah,
The whole
no
time.
easy votes. No, yeah.
Yeah, and I think I don't know. I get it.
I feel like Ricard and Shan almost had this sort of Black Widow Hawkeye relationship from the get-go.
Yeah.
Neither, like, both of them weren't going to make it out alive. There was only going to be one winner. Yeah. So, do you think Danny's like play on the idol, or the move he made to fake he had an idol, got him the votes here? Because they decided to split the votes between Danny and Deshaun, and then they just decided to go with Danny, but they split the votes to try and flush an idol. Do you think it just would have been straight Danny if he didn't act so happy?
No, I think
I'm just curious. Like looking back, it was a good play, but was it? He really needed to find it.
I mean, honestly, okay, straight goods. When I first started watching Survivor, I always wanted the oh my god, Brandon. Who's
You can describe the players. I know.
Shamar.
Oh, Shamar was
right?
yeah.
So Brandon, Shamar, kind of lump into like the Deshaun. I feel like they're a little bit. So
Philip.
So as much as I'm like,
we're talking just crazy people, right? We're talking crazy people. Okay.
I'm gonna call them pot stirrers.
Okay.
Right? They're right. I didn't understand at first, but there's a need for that. I've heard it called a meat shield or whatever, heat score, whatever you want to, right?
Yeah,
but I can see the value of like not right away, but
you can also call it keep your friends close, your enemies even closer. It's a really old strategy, dude.
I mean, I feel like Survivor's like vote out your friends and keep your enemies in the game so your friends don't vote for your enemies.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So as Xander, okay, so the truth bomb. Essentially, Deshaun tries to just say he tries to sow deceit between Erica and Heather.
And Erica intelligently recognizes it, and she's like, yeah, I'm sure that Heather has considered a possible outcome of a final three where both of us are not there, right?
Yeah,
And
that was a very good answer from Erica. She's very diplomatic. I was impressed.
all of the answers were good at Tribal, and that's one of the things.
Even she taps Deshaun on the knee and goes, "You're welcome. I kept you in the game. You are welcome." Oh, it's not going to mean anything.
Even just the satisfaction on Jeff's face at the end of it, where he's like, "You know what? Really good answers." And again, I know it sounds like broken record. I haven't seen all the seasons of Survivor, but I feel like this season, out of the seasons I've seen, the players they're playing, but and they're still trying to make plays, but there's still, it's like they're walking this weird line. I'm going to go Sean Evans here.
Sure.
They're walking this weird line of playing their game, putting on the poker face, being disingenuous, but also being honest, right? On the other hand, of where they're like, "Hey man, like I care about you. Let's go for as long as we can." But you know, the moment you lose your grip as we're climbing this mountain, I'm not coming back for you. Like, cool. And it's so freaking good, man. Like,
that's a very good point.
It's so
So what did you think of the twist Jeff drops on them after Danny goes home? Well, actually, first of all, what did you think of Danny's line to Deshaun where he's like, "Go Cowboys," as he walks out and gives a little to the camera? I was like, nice, Danny. That's a little like, go get him, Deshaun. I don't think he's going to do it, but we'll see.
I really
so
like
Jeff,
Danny. I really like Danny. I think he's a good guy.
Tiff even
sad,
says,
man.
she's like, "I'm sorry he went home." Like, that sucks.
Dude, I'm sad that he got. Yeah,
I really like Danny, but I don't know who he's beating in the final three unless he takes Heather and Erica. I'm not sure he's winning that final three. I'm not 100% sure he is. Maybe.
I mean, if he took Deshaun and Erica.
Yeah,
right?
maybe.
Okay, you see it. Not like a, that would be like a to hit or like that would be a, I don't know what kind of thaco that would be, but it would be like, you know what I mean?
I feel like Liana and Deshaun was really Danny's only claim to the $1 million. He needed to keep though. He needed to sit with nobody else. Danny went over Heather. Yeah, okay. Heather could be there instead of Liana.
And I mean, and also
could
like,
he have beaten Deshaun?
Like, not to try and be like a jerk here, but if Danny took like, you know, Wonder Bread 1 and Wonder Bread 2 to final tribal, like, could he not get the votes? And maybe. And also, he's a nice freaking guy.
He is a good guy.
He didn't like, he never really made a stink. Like, he you know, paid his dues. Like, he was, you know, he was there.
And don't forget
he was a part of some votes. Like, he didn't make any crazy blindsides or anything, but like, honestly, like, if you could just, right, I don't know.
The moment I really liked Danny was, I think it was episode 2 or 3, when Heather can't do part of a challenge, like she just can't do it and she blames herself, and Danny walks over and leans over and gives her a little pep talk, and like, it's all good. I was like, oh, that's a, but I was also, I think I said in the podcast, like, he comes across too much like a sports guy. He's got to change his lingo up, but that was a good Danny, like, human moment. I remember that.
I'm gonna say that would be kind of a genuine, you know, what I call like the hearts and flowers. Like, he really, you know, because I don't know, like, yeah. I mean, nobody, like, what was the other guy that was a sports guy that got spotted like right away, right?
Culpepper?
No, there was another guy. I think he was a baseball guy.
Yeah, baseball player. He was a pitcher. Shoot, I can't remember his name. John Rocker.
Yeah. But I don't know. Like, I really liked that, how he just didn't throw her under the bus and was like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I liked it.
So I'll Do you want to hear about what happens when they get to Ponderosa, or should I just send you the video and we can discuss it next podcast or off
I'm
camera?
gonna dealer's choice.
Okay, so I will send you a link and I'll
Okay.
give you like a 2-word description.
Okay.
When Danny gets to Ponderosa and starts ordering his food and sitting at the table with the other jury members,
Okay.
Shan decides to have a discussion. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
And Danny raises some very good points, but it's a very good discussion.
I feel like we need like a little sidebar, like, well, I don't know. We'll see off camera. But I feel like maybe we should do the Ponderosa and do like a little 15-minute sidebar. I think we could do a 15-minute sidebar on the Ponderosa.
Yeah, we could. We'll figure out a way to maybe record a 15-minute video between now and Wednesday if we can, like 15-20 minutes. It's just next time we go to play a game of Chell or Fortnite, we just cancel one of those games and record for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So do you want to hear the title of next week's episode, the finale?
Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready.
One thing left to do. Win.
Oh. I'm going to say Ricard says it.
Oh, we should start betting on who says it.
What about like you know how they do hockey pools?
Erica, right? Erica says it. I'm gonna think it's an Erica line. She would think like that. Ricard is a good one. I doubt it's Heather. Sorry, Heather. Heather, if you eventually watch this.
So here's my secondary bet. If we're doing like a horse betting trifecta, the only other person that says that is Xander. It's Ricard, Erica, or Xander.
It has to be, right? Could you imagine if it's Heather? I would riot if Heather says it. I don't think she said a episode title all season, actually.
Oh.
Shan's had a couple. Xander's had a couple.
Shan's had a couple. Xander's had a couple.
Yep. I would say Xander's at least had 2 or 3.
More than one? How does everybody not just get one?
Well, hold on. Let me look at some episode titles here.
I don't know what the math is on that. If there's an algebraic,
I'm actually curious about doing that. There's some people that just they're just more charismatic. That actually, well, they track like how long people are on cameras. So yeah, at the end of the season, after next week's episode, I'll track who said the title of the episode, and we'll see if that's some sort of pattern we can debug.
I like how you paused there. You're like the.
I burped. I tried to keep it off of camera. Sorry.
No, dude. So is next episode the finale? We're like
3 hours.
Kit and caboodle?
3 hours. 2 hour 2-part episode, and then the reunion.
Right. Yeah, and so. Are we breaking the next podcast into 2? Like, what's even happening?
I was thinking about saving the reunion, or we legit, because I'm not gonna lie, I've gone back and looked at our YouTube channel. The video that has the most watches is our longest one, so maybe people won't mind an hour and a half discussion about all 3 hours. But
I don't think anybody would be mad. I mean, if people love Survivor, they love Survivor. Like, you know, and. I don't know. Well,
so yeah, we'll talk about it. But I'm leaning towards one giant conversation. But
okay. All right. Well, let me know. Keep me posted. We'll do that. Maybe we have a guest speaker. I don't know.
Fair enough.
We'll see.
Do you want to take us out here, Drew?
All right. Thanks for hanging out. Like, subscribe. Change my mind. I'm thinking it's going to be Xander, Ricard, or Erica for the win. Prove me wrong.
That's probably my top 3 picks too.
Come back next time.
They're all making to the final 3 though.
Well, yeah, probably not, but somebody is. I'm hedging my bets, man.
Fair enough.
Take care, you guys. This is coming out soon. Happy holidays. Care about you guys and your loved ones. Everybody be safe. Hug somebody you know. Wish them a happy holidays. Take care.
Totally agree. Peace out.